and that ties together. But I know I'm jumping all over the place. I don't mean to, but I'm trying to get as much information on this episode as can. Now, get back to the motherhood thing and the mother thing I talked about in the last episode. Now, the thing about where I said the resentment part is because you realize that Elaine, she had aspirations to become a reporter or a journalist, and she had like 3 kids already, and she was planning on going back to her job. I don't know. It was nothing special about it, but it was her job. It was something, her career she wanted to go back to. Now, she found she was pregnant again. That makes 4 children, and you see her as a young mother, and she's struggling. She's by herself. I mean, her mother's around a little bit, but no one's helping. And I'm not saying they need to help, but there's no one helping. And she didn't explain that. I feel like later when they blow up, she didn't explain that, but it felt like she was a big brat and a big baby, which is not really fair because you have 4 children and you have like that. You didn't have a nanny or like I mean, I don't know how much a starting up lawyer makes or whatever, but she's by herself and she's almost having a nervous breakdown. But the thing I didn't contest, and it comes out because this is years and years of resentment, of frustration on our part. And so when Izzy basically, and many times I guess disobeys her because she wants her to make her mold her just like her oldest daughter Lexi. And it's like weird thing. It's like I don't know how to explain this. Let's see. I'm trying to think. It's like if you're in the same house with somebody, and you're you have one kid who is straight A student. It appears to be the perfect student, like everything. And the other student, she also does well, but she's an outcast from everyone else, and or she or he or whatever. And for some reason, the parent takes a liking to one kid, like there's their achievement. They live vicariously through them. It was whether it's football or any kind of sports, or it's mainly sports anyway, or academics or whatever. And it's not like Izzy's a awful kid. As a matter of fact, they're all smart kids. They're not dumb. Even like Trip is not a dumb kid. He's actually a smart kid. Just in that situation because he's going to the same class as Pearl. Pearl's a very, very talented and a very, very smart kid. He's not dumb, it's just one's very smarter than the other one. So they're all good and they're all well adjusted as much as they could with their like crazy psycho mom who has some resentment from her years because she desperately wanted to become this this lawyer, not lawyer, journalist. And then I don't know if it was a reality thing that she was actually had talented or be able, because she always bragged about one time I got to get to interview Janet Reno. I mean, she runs to that, but that beyond that, there's no accolades or any skill because she stayed pregnant her entire life, pretty much. I mean, he had 4 kids. I mean, you stay, stirrups or whatever. So you see her as a young mother struggling, and she went back to work. She clearly took a lot of time off because I think that was also a situation because she resented the fact that she had to raise these kids and to raise a 4th kid. It's bad enough to have 3, but to have 4th, so she automatically hated Izzy. So when Izzy would do things like when they went to get to go to the violin recital, and she wouldn't wear her clothes to make her more comfortable. I don't want you to do that. It's like you're making it harder than it needs to be. You clearly don't like her because at first I thought it was more strict in our more being strict because I don't want you to dress this way, and then like I don't want you to do this, and I don't want you to wear this, and I don't want you to cut your hair this way. I want your hair to more structure and all that kind of stuff, and blah blah blah. Then you realize it's more than that. It's more deeper resentment. She's been resenting this kid probably for 16 years. Since this kid was in her womb, been resentment because I didn't want this child. It's bad enough how these other three children, but I did not want her. I don't want to say that like Moody, he's not in the same same situation as her, but he's not she's not as mean to him, but she's dismissive of him too. For some reason, I guess Trip and Alexia is the felt she got right in the first time, and then when she had Izzy, and then you see her as a little kid, when they found a little bird, a little robin or some sort of bird. I don't count it. It doesn't matter. And then she brings the bird in the house, and the bird goes crazy, and basically, you know, they get it out, and he yells at the youngest daughter, but she was trying. She's a caring person. She's not spiteful, and she didn't do it to be mean. So she has a caring part of herself. Now, I talked about Elaine Richard as a young lady. I should go and talk about Mia Warren as a young lady. Now, I don't want to say this like Boys in the Hood because it's corny, but it's a little bit like Boys in the Hood and a little bit like Stand By Me, and I'll explain what I mean by both when I say this. I'm not saying the characters are descriptive of them. I'm saying the situations are close to it. Now, in the situation of Boys in the Hood, Doughboy and his older brother, no, actually Doughboy's older brother, younger brother, was aspiration with a football player. He actually was to be the academic scholarship because he actually did pretty good on SATs because he wasn't sure he was going to. Now he was the golden boy, the one you could count on. Doughboy was the thug and got in a lot of trouble. He's in and out of juvie in all situations. He's a gangbanger, whatnot. Now they live both in the same house, and the mother is kind of tolerates Doughboy. She tolerates him. She's not too fan of his lifestyle, whatever each other, and she's kind of clinging to the older son, not older son, younger son. But anyway, it's a situation where that son he gets killed in a drive-by, and she blames Doughboy for it. It's your fault that this situation, even though he was not even in that vicinity, even though he didn't even start that situation that caused it to happen. But it's that situation where you're not saying you wish someone else died, but you're saying it. Now the movie Stand By Me is the same situation where I'm not gonna say the actor's name because it's just too corny. But Gordy, who is the younger son to Denny, and Denny went off to Vietnam, and he never came back. And Gordy was the younger son. He was also just a son, but the parents resented the fact that he lived and his son, their oldest son, had died. And I think that same dynamic is the same thing in situation with Mia, because where they tolerated, I feel like they tolerated Mia. They loved her, but they tolerated Mia, and they was hoping for their oldest son to be like the one they actually achieved, the one they got right. and when he died, it's like they disowned her anyway. Now she was also gay, but they don't really get into that. But the fact that she came home and she was pregnant after the mom was, I'm done with you. You gotta go. You're done. I disowning you. So that's why she took off, because she felt like she didn't have anything. Now, Izzy is the same situation. She tried to best hard to. And at one point, I'm not going to get the line completely right, but in the gist of it, in so many words where they're in the car together, she basically looks at a dollar and basically says, it's hard to be your mother. And she says, well, you don't have to be my mother anymore. Now, that is also a situation where, about resentment. It's so uh, destructive in that family. Um, there's so many problems in that family had to deal with. Now, keep in mind, you know, I don't think she's a bad mother, but she clearly resents her daughter. She clearly resents, the struggles she had to go struggles, being a young mother. I mean, a lot of it was deals with the fact that she was basically raising these kids by herself, because you don't ever see the husband. The husband is trying to work and trying to bring food on the table. I'm not crapping on him. I mean, I'm not saying he's a bad father, but he was never. It seemed like he was never there. At least how they depicted it in the show. Now, as like the years go on, you just assume that she was she didn't have any resentments. But then that statement where um, she comes back to work and the boss goes, "Wow, it's probably see you here." It's like you took it like another 10-month vacation, and that I know that stung a little bit. Um, but that part is the part I mean when I was saying it's like the resentment part. I mean, she constantly has to like eat it, and like feel like I never got the career that I wanted because I had all 4 children. I never got to be able to become the person who what is it the person who had this prestigious career, this career that, let's be honest, she probably wasn't that great of a reporter. She probably was, an okay journalist, but she didn't have, that ability or that giftness, whatever. So I don't see, I don't see it. I don't honestly, I don't see them actually, honestly, her going that far, except for that one lucky break when she interviewed Janet Reno. I mean, I'm looking at the cast right now. I just realized her boss is only 2 episodes, but clearly was kind of fed up. Was not too fond of her. I was trying to think. I was trying to see, and I never bothered to realize with who Izzy's girlfriend or her friend was. It doesn't matter. All right. You see. Also, I'm just gonna be jumping back and forth. So, I apologize automatically. I'm just gonna be going back and forth. But I like the story and the situations with BB and the McCalls. I like that situation because it ties in the situation with the losing Isaiah. And I was like thinking of a scenario. Let's say hypothetically, let's say a scenario where in losing Isaiah, there was a crack addicted mother, and she put her mother. The child also. That's another tie-in, or the child in the losing Isaiah, as opposed to frostbitten. I think a child might be autistic or something like that from the drug use or something. I'm not sure because I didn't know what autistic was. I'm still not sure, but I think it's behavior or something. I'm not exactly sure. I'm not a doctor, so I don't know particular. But let's say I'm going to say a scenario. Let's say a scenario like this. Let's say a young mother of age of like in her early 20s or whatever, for whatever reason can't take a child. Somehow something happens where the child is removed from that family, but later on she gets herself together and tries to so she can raise the child. She wants to be in this child's life. She wants to do whatever she can to become in this child's life. Now, at the same time, someone had already adopted the child. Well, not adopted. They are foster parents of the child, and they're getting close to adoption. Now, this child doesn't know her mother quite well because she was a baby when she was not ripped from mother, but for whatever circumstances, she's taken from her mother. Now, she wants to come back in the child's life. and she's trying her best